It's shaping up to be one of the largest gatherings of municipal leaders Alberta has seen in years. From November 12th to 14th, mayors, councillors, and administrators from across the province will convene on downtown Calgary for the Alberta Municipalities Convention, a 3-day summit where the people who help run our cities, towns, and villages come together to debate, decide, and chart the path forward. They'll be tackling some of the biggest issues facing local governments today, from property taxes and infrastructure funding to the future of public libraries and what's next after October's municipal elections. Delegates will also cast their votes on 15 policy resolutions, proposals submitted by Alberta Municipalities members over the past year, all aimed at shaping how communities deliver the services Albertans rely on. And beyond the policy debates, the convention is also a showcase, with over 120 trade show vendors, workshops, networking events, and keynote addresses from Premier Danielle Smith, NDP leader Naheed Nenshi, and Municipal Affairs Minister Dan Williams. Now, it is a pivotal moment for Alberta's local leaders, one that could set the tone for the next 4 years of municipal governance. To discuss what's on the agenda, what's at stake, and what it means for communities across Alberta, we are joined by Dana Mackey, Chief Executive of Alberta Municipalities. This is Municipal Affairs. From the smallest village to the largest city, across every region of the province, Alberta Municipalities represents the communities where over 85% of Albertans live. AB Munis provides a united voice for 265 of Alberta's 330 municipalities, including summer villages, towns, cities, and specialized municipalities. As Alberta's largest municipal group, AB Munis listens to municipal leaders and advocates for solutions to their common issues. Additionally, AB Munis supports local governments by providing services specially designed to meet their operational needs. And they bring their members together regularly so they can share ideas and information so that their communities can thrive. Check out Alberta Municipalities at abmunis.ca and follow them on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, now called X. Dana, thank you so much for sitting down with me and chatting about this week's upcoming Alberta Municipalities Convention, which is expected to be one of the largest gatherings in Alberta municipal history. What are you expecting to hear as CEO of Alberta Municipalities?
Well, I'm expecting to hear a lot about how the recent elections went. A lot of newly elected councillors that'll be excited to get into their roles and get started over the next 4 years. I'm looking forward to seeing those individuals connect with those that have been reelected. And I know our returning members are looking forward to engaging those that have been newly reelected. So I think we're going to see a lot of relationship development and formation over the next 4 days. We, of course, going to have some great information sessions from seniors housing to family community support services to utilities 101 or how to effectively work with your local MLA and government. So lots of good educational sessions for our members. Of course, every year we have a resolutions process where priorities from our members come to the floor and they vote on those priorities, and that becomes our priority work into 2026. So we're going to get a bit of a to-do list from our members, for lack of a better way of putting it, Chris. And so I'm looking forward to seeing those resolutions be debated and voted upon, and that'll help me and my team focus our efforts into 2026. And then, of course, we're really looking forward to hosting about 20 cabinet ministers. The premier will be there, lots of engagement from MLAs across the province, and that's always a real highlight of the show too.
This is the first time in some time that the convention is happening in November. Traditionally, it happens in September. And this comes at the heels when most municipalities are looking at their budgets. I know Alberta Municipality has been doing a strong campaign over the last few weeks around property taxes and how it comes to funding. What are you expecting to hear from municipal leaders, both re-elected and newly elected, around the role that the municipalities play in the infrastructure funding that comes with the critical time that we're in when it comes to sort of the growth that we're seeing in the province?
Yeah, I'm interested to see what the reaction to our information project is so far. We've really focused at this point in time in communicating mostly to our members and or those that follow the municipal sector very closely. And then we've just, of course, started our conversations with our colleagues in the provincial government, both senior officials and elected, around, what we've done, Chris, with this information project I think is give some good perspective, like a long-term time horizon around what has been affecting municipal finances. And the reason we do that is of course it's as we go forward into the next 4 years, it's easy to make a decision here and a decision there that seems to make sense in its own isolation. But when you put things into a broader context and even a broader timeline, you can see the pressures that our councils are under when they're making budget decisions. And then also, I have found in my early tenure here, not everyone completely understands the unique nature of municipal finances. Simple things like councils cannot deficit spend, right? I mean, they have to table a budget and balance a budget every year, which is very much unlike a provincial or federal government budgeting process. And so, looking to level set understanding, highlight the challenges that our members are faced with. Infrastructure funding has been a priority for many years. This is another way to start a conversation, I think, with better context. And what we're hoping to do is play a role where maybe over the next short term we can have some productive discussions around how to create a new normal going forward.
What is the new normal, though? Because at the end of the day, Alberta municipalities represents both largest cities of Edmonton and Calgary to the smallest communities of, I'm just picking two at random, Barons and Acme. How does Alberta
Yeah.
municipality bring together the voices of all sizes of municipalities to ensure that what you're doing as CEO is benefiting every municipality, not just the big cities?
Yeah, so engagement and listening are the two fundamental ingredients I would point out to that question, Chris. We have to constantly be listening to our members, creating venues so that their interests come to the fore when we're taking a position as an organization or when we have an opportunity to work in partnership with government. Um, with respect to infrastructure funding, this did play out in terms of the input we received from our members and the advice that we provided to government around the allocation formula for the local growth and fiscal framework, or the LGFF, which is our primary infrastructure funding vehicle. And while not perfect, and while we didn't get everything that we had asked for, because of course we weren't the only voice at the table, the consultation process that government undertook was sound, and I think a lot of our input was received. So we're generally happy with that process. The challenge we have is the overall size of the envelope, and so the allocation formula is one thing. It really needs to be a larger envelope for it to sufficiently deliver on all our communities' needs. And the main things that our communities are faced with, and it, to your point, Chris, it can be greater in some communities than others, but population growth, everyone is experiencing that to some degree. Inflation, everyone is experiencing for sure. And not only are we trying to keep up with inflation and population growth, but there's the aging infrastructure that needs to be managed as well.
We look at the 15 policy resolutions that members have submitted that they will be debating, I believe, on day two and day three. Correct me if I'm wrong here, Dana. But when we're looking at the future and what happens after the convention, how does the team at Alberta Municipalities takes the policy? How do they take the policy resolutions that were passed and
Yep.
implement them to ensure that 1 year's time members can come back when they're in Edmonton, because I know that's where it is next year, that they are going
Yep.
to say, okay, this is the work that Alberta Municipalities has done. What is the work that you do after the convention?
Yeah, thank you for that. And so first of all, I would say if a resolution passes by the majority of members, we certainly act on it. When we act on it and how we act on it, there is a both a prioritization approach that we take, as well as a general determining the strategic actions that we're going to take to advance a particular resolution. We generally do that through our policy committees, and we have five policy committees heading into 2026. And they've been slightly revamped to better align with ministry mandates structure, because, of course, maintaining consistent relationships is important in that process too. But we would assign past resolutions to those committees for advice. Those committees would provide advice to the executive committee of Alberta Municipalities, which would ultimately be endorsed by the board. And then we get on our advocacy approach for each of those resolutions early in 2026. All resolutions are accompanied by a letter, so there's correspondence on each and every item to the provincial government, and that response is shared and rated in terms of satisfactory response or not. And we make that very public on our website, and we do periodic reporting and year-end reporting on all our resolutions. And then, of course, we continue to activate our resolutions for a 3-year period too. So it's not just 1 year of activity in and out. We carry them forward for several years before we go to our members and let something expire. And at that point, if we haven't been successful in advancing a resolution, it might be reintroduced and refreshed.
Now, this year's convention is a convention of very few, a lot of firsts. It is the first
Yeah,
time you, as CEO, is the chair of the convention. Is the first time that the Minister of
yeah.
Municipal Affairs, Dan McWilliams, is going to be up there as Minister of Affairs. What do you hope to take away from this next 3, 4 days in Calgary as the new CEO? Because you're now 10 months in, and Dan Rude's legacy is now the Mackey legacy. So, what do you hope to build on this convention this year for yourself?
Yeah, lots of new, like you say.
Mhm.
I think with lots of new, it is going to mean lots of energy too, right? And maybe tackling old issues in slightly different ways, and maybe we can actually move them forward. The biggest thing that I'm looking forward to in this convention is reconnecting with existing members and congratulating them on their reelection, and then meeting those that have been newly elected, and then, of course, um, our colleagues in administration, chief administration officers and their staff. It's very nice to catch up with everyone. We all get so busy throughout the course of the year. We start conversations. It's nice to return to them, um, remind ourselves that we're working as one big team, although we have lots of diverse views and relative issues amongst our memberships. We're all kind of pulled together by this common bond towards public service, and that comes out in spades. And I think we all enter convention with some excitement, and then we leave remotivated for another year of hard work.
Now, this is also a year of fresh starts for your board because, unfortunately, if I say unfortunately, but former President Tyler Gandam will not be returning to the board. This was the only president that you've known since you've been appointed as CEO. What was your working relationship with Tyler like?
I can count on one hand some of the most fantastic bosses I've had in my life, and Tyler is on that hand. He was amazing to work with. He really provided great guidance to me as I left civil service at the provincial level and got familiar with the municipal sector. That right amount of patience and encouragement to get out there and know our members. And support for me to take action, obviously honoring the strategic direction of the organization as I entered, but also giving me that opportunity to work with the board and staff to make tweaks where I found opportunities. The partnership was fabulous. And I'm sure Tyler will go on to do equally fabulous things, and I'm looking forward to seeing what that is. But yeah, thank you for the question, Chris. I couldn't have asked for a better working relationship for my first 11 months in the role.
What do you hope the board will sort of feel like after this convention? Are you hoping to have that same feel, or is it going to be a new face, a new feel to it after this convention? Because everyone brings their own experiences.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I'm no stranger to transition. With the province for over 20 years, I think I worked for 6 different premiers and more than double that in terms of ministers. And so change is the nature of life when you're in municipal and or provincial or federal politics for that matter. And as an administrator and an official, you learn pretty quickly to adapt and serve to whomever your board and president may be. Alberta Municipalities is an organization in place for over 105 years. So I like to say we're going to be here for at least 105 more. So I think with a new board, we'll probably get some adjustments and priorities and some new priorities and some new strategic objectives. Our team is very agile and able to make those adjustments. And I think we'll see a lot of continuity as well, because a lot of the issues that we're seeing, they remain pretty consistent. And membership support for what we're focused on remains pretty consistent too, other than, new priorities cropping up from year to year.
So my final question before I let you go, because I know you're busy and you're literally
Yep.
in Calgary as we're getting going. Um, Speak to the people of Alberta. Those who might be thinking, oh, this is just a big group of politicians getting together in Calgary and just wasting taxpayers' dollars as they do, as politicians do. What is your message to Albertans about why this meeting is important for municipal leaders from every corner of this province to gather once a year to discuss the issues? What is your pitch to the people of Alberta?
Well, I think, like you said at the beginning of the podcast, Chris, this is the largest annual gathering of elected municipal leaders in the province. And a lot of good comes from that. The peer-to-peer networking is really critical as these individuals go back to their home communities and make decisions, right? They now have a support network that helps them, triangulate their thinking, improve their thinking, crystallize their thinking, so they're making good decisions in their community based on best practice. Because there is a sharing of best practices that occurs at this convention. There's education that occurs at this convention. There is a linking of provincial officials and municipal officials, so that two orders of government can work effectively together over the next 4 years, and a lot of good comes out of that too. And so, relationships matter, education matters. Our organization is a pretty significant source of information for elected officials and their senior officials as well. And that supports good governance in the province. And then, of course, it reminds us we're all Albertans, and our members love coming to the city of Calgary. Calgary is a wonderful city to spend time in. And they will enjoy themselves while they're here as well, and be reminded what a great city Calgary is.
Well, Dana, thank you so much for sitting down with me and chatting to myself and to Albertans from across Alberta. So thank you so much, and we'll see you on location at the TELUS Convention Center for the annual Alberta Municipalities Convention. So looking forward to meeting you in person once again.
Looking forward to it, Chris.
Thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of Municipal Affairs. Now, we hope you've enjoyed today's conversation and gained some valuable insights into this week's upcoming Alberta Municipalities Convention. Quick note, we will be live in person at this year's convention in downtown Calgary. So if you are a mayor or a councillor attending this year, find us at the convention so we can have a conversation. We will be set up speaking with municipal leaders from all corners of this great province about the path forward, but also having them on the show for many different reasons. So until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and we will be back with a brand new episode of Municipal Affairs shortly. Till then, everyone.